everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Fully Alive podcast. My name is Dr. Mary Meduna Gross. I'm an executive well-being coach, and today we're having a very important conversation with my friend Lynn, Neen. And we're going to talk about the funsies, something that I think that we often give up somewhere around preschool. As we're going into school, we can't have fun anymore. We got to buckle down and we got to do something important. So Lynn, thank you so much for being here for this conversation. I know fun is specifically something I remember in my mid-20s complaining a lot about. I'm just not having any fun. I'm not having any fun. I literally did not know how to have fun. And so this is a very personal topic for me. So thanks again for being here. I know you're going to help me understand this better. And we are on live. So if there are questions out there, challenges, clarification, let us know what that is and we'll respond to those. So thank you everyone for being here, especially you, Lynn.
Well, thank you. I just came for the fun, you know.
Of course you did.
Otherwise, I'd be doing something else.
That's right. That's right. Well, Lynn, tell us a little bit about you and kind of bring us up to date on how did fun become a topic for you?
Well, I think it always has been, as most people want it. We just don't always know how to get it, like you said. And we know it's this kind of elusive thing at times, but it doesn't have to be. It can actually be just as much part of your life as drinking enough water, because it replenishes you on so many levels. And heaven knows we need replenishment these days. But it was kind of interesting. It's been weaving in and out of my life for so many years. And I did have the glorious joy of working for 20 years with Parks and Recreation. And I got paid to make fun for others. And it was delightful. And a lot of times I had just as much fun as the participants. And then there were other times it was a job and all the prep. But it really happened to really come front and center with my Feng Shui consulting business and career. And it was so interesting how I found Feng Shui. I was sitting in a waiting room for my daughter. I can't even remember for what. Sitting in a waiting room might be the lowest fun on the planet, because you're kind of anxious. But there was a magazine on the table. Are you ready for this? It was open to an article on Feng Shui. I'd never heard of it before.
Okay.
So I devoured that article, and I came away with the understanding that Feng Shui is about creating a space that's soothing, nourishing, great to live in, can change your life. And my immediate response was, this could be really fun to do this. So I don't know how, because I don't think I had access to the internet, but I managed to find a class.
Okay.
This was like early 90s. And so I took my first class, and I just jumped in with heart and soul and learned everything I could about becoming a Feng Shui consultant, and did lots of training. And it was very enjoyable. It was very soothing to me to know that I was helping people with their spaces. And then a couple of years ago, Mary, I looked at this very, very actually rigid set of rules. Feng Shui is very, you must do this, you must put this in this place, or the angels will weep for you, kind of thing. And I thought, I don't know if I want to do it this way anymore. It's where's the fun? You know, we had cures, they called them, for career and relationships and prosperity and just anything of life endeavors. But nowhere was there ever mention in any of the trainings I had about fun. How do we bring fun into our lives?
So you love what you're doing with this Feng Shui, but you're feeling restricted by all the rules.
You got that right.
You want to have fun. So, what gets you out of this rule bound?
Well, I think, and we're going to talk a little bit about the different kinds of fun and what has been determined by the author of a book I'll share with you all, of the components of fun. But I just felt like I wanted to laugh and feel joyful. And I wanted my clients to feel that too. So sometimes when you want to have fun, you have to be a little bit of a rebel.
Sure.
And this is where my rebel hat came on. And I'm like, I think I need to change the rules. Do I dare?
Right. Look how bold you're being.
Whoa, I'm like 4,000 years of philosophy.
Right.
And here comes Lynn. She's going to change the rules right now. But I did. And I decided I wasn't going to follow the rigid rules of using this Bagua map, which tells you exactly where. And I think the epitome came when I got this panicky phone call from a woman who had just been given a jade plant, which is very revered in Feng Shui. And she was really upset. She said, I don't know where to put this plant. I don't want to put it in the wrong place. And that said to me, that gave me permission to say this whole rule thing has got to go. It is quite patriarchal, Feng Shui, traditional. I will say that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a divine feminine approach, and I'm going to break some rules. So I did, and I practiced on myself with my little studio, which you can see in the background. And I decided I would put things where I felt I wanted to put them, and not what the book said.
Okay.
And that has changed everything, because now I'm having fun and my clients are having fun. And if I feel them getting stressed or anything, we just change the whole dynamics and start to have fun, because decluttering is a lot with Feng Shui too. And it can be fun. It totally can. Right. But it's going in with an open heart and letting go of fear and old programming and all those kinds of things. Wow. So that's kind of the new approach to life I'm going with.
So as I'm listening to you and I'm hearing you talk about patriarchal, divine feminine rules, what comes up for me is also the framework that I use, right? The framework of that continuum of fear to love. And we're always somewhere on this continuum.
Yeah.
We can be anywhere on the continuum. We're all capable of functioning anywhere on the continuum, but we can only be in one place at a time, right? And so if what I'm hearing is the rules, the patriarchy, that's on that fear side, that structure side. It's right. And when your client said, oh, I don't want to do it wrong. Oh, that word wrong just is now a trigger for me. Like, oh, wrong. Yeah. What makes us wrong? Right. And so that's all of that fear side. I have to have rules. I have to have structure. There's a right way to do this and there's a wrong way to do this. And I have to find the right way.
Exactly. And sadly, growing up, we're taught there's a right way and a wrong way for everything. And school, we all survived it somehow. But I grew up in the 50s, and there was a time for fun and there was a time for not fun. And if you were having fun at the wrong time, you'd be chastised, you'd be criticized, you'd be punished, because kids just want to have fun and very quickly learn that the fun segments are smaller and smaller all the time. And now some schools, I understand, I don't know if this is really true, aren't even having recess times anymore, because they're teaching the kids for testing. So I was always the one. I did have that little rebel spark even when I was young, and I can remember using it and getting into, a little bit of trouble. Right. And the earliest memory of me doing something really wrong was when I was a brownie in Brownie Girl Scouts, and I wore a rhinestone necklace with my brownie uniform. Okay. I thought that made perfect sense.
Okay.
And yet my leader got angry, and she said, we don't wear jewelry with our uniforms. And that was a trajectory for me to go off on. I want to be approved of and loved. And I don't want to ruffle the teachers or the Girl Scout leaders' feathers by doing the wrong thing. Right. So those messages, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and boy, impact at that age can change your whole life. So I put my rhinestone necklace away, and I didn't even want to wear it anywhere after that, because it had gotten me into trouble. And it's just so sad how our childhood programming. The other thing about fun, I think, is we're made to feel guilty when we do have it. Yeah. And so many times, how many times were we taught, get your homework done first, and then you can go play. Okay. Get your schoolwork done first. Get the house clean first. Do all these other things. And then if you have time, maybe you can go play if you're not too tired, or have fun. So there was always the burden of getting everything done before we could have fun. And I still struggle with that sometimes. I can't leave my house unless the dishes are out of my sink. It's old programming, I know.
Sure.
But it's a thing, and it doesn't take me long. I don't have a dishwasher, so, there's never much to do. But it's just funny how we've so been influenced by the society of
Yeah.
you can't have fun unless your work is done. And it's just so sad.
It
Because
really
you can't
is.
have fun.
And work is never done. I mean, I think
Never.
that's one of the fallacies, right, of that assumption is that at some point I will be done with work and then I can play.
Right.
And I think that's really, as I was listening to you describe that, I'm thinking, oh, that's exactly where I was in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
I was going to school. I was working full time. I'm trying to build this career, trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
I'm working hard.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that. I grew up on a farm, right? I'm doing chores at 5, 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
Work to do. And of course, you did work, you did your chores before you had breakfast. And I mean, it's just all of that work came first message.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm not criticizing, and I think this is one of the things in this world of looking at our beliefs, that we can look back at a belief and say, oh my gosh, everything that I experienced really led me to this belief that I can't have fun.
Yeah.
And that's not a criticism of anyone or anything, right?
Yeah.
I made these decisions for myself. I did the best I could.
Yeah.
We've all done that. We've all done the best we could. But I prefer just to take the responsibility, like, I drew the conclusion that I couldn't play until I was done with my work. And I chose to live with that.
Yeah.
And only I can say, I don't think I want to live by that anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And the other thing that comes to mind and what I've learned is there's different kinds of fun.
Okay.
And sometimes we get seduced by, I'll introduce this book now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about her. It's called The Power of Fun. I don't know if this is coming up backwards, but it's a little fun, how to
what's her name? Catherine Price?
Catherine Price.
Okay.
And a friend told me about it, and I got it. And so many of the things that she told me, I kind of intuitively knew, but having it in a book and having her research, she created a fun team of 1,500 people and asked them all what was fun for them, to name 3 things that were fun. So everyone's going to have different answers, and different things are going to have fun. And sometimes when someone says, are you going to have fun? What are you doing for fun this weekend? And you almost stop and go like, yeah, you don't really know. But sometimes it doesn't have to be a big party with all the things. It can be as simple as having a friend and taking a walk and just laughing and having some fun stories to tell. It can be very much just bantering. And I have decided I'm going to make bantering one of my new superpowers. So I've been practicing this with students. It's funny you say you were a student, because I live in a building with a lot of students. And they're, I don't know how they get on and off an elevator because the phone is right here. But I like to interrupt that. And I know I'm taking my life in my hands sometimes. It's interesting because unless they have earphones on, you can usually get their attention. And so fun can be this very simple, lighthearted conversation that might last 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it elevates both of you. Like I'll often say, I'll ask them to push a button for my floor, and they'll do it. And I'll go, wow, you did that great. Was that in 101 elevator class freshman year? And then we start, and 9 times out of 10, I get a laugh or, I wish I'd taken that class. Anyway, the other thing I love to do lately is when I go into Whole Foods and order something, some bread or meat or whatever, I always look at the person serving me and I say, how's your day going today? I can't tell you, Mary, how people just light up that someone sees them, wants to know how their day went. And then the one guy in the butcher shop at Whole Foods near us, he was wrapping up my pork chops just so he was done. I said, wow, that must have taken you forever to perfect that. And he said, oh yeah. He said, I'm still working on it. But anyway, we had this lovely little exchange. And I remembered that my mother was a connoisseur of doing those kinds of things. And interestingly, a lot of memories about her attitude towards fun have come up as I've been exploring this whole concept of fun. And I can remember going grocery shopping when I was 7. My sister was younger, 2 years younger. My dad worked at Gromer's grocery store out in Elgin in the suburb. And we'd always shop on Friday night. And the butchers had a union. So at a certain time, they'd shut off all the lights in the meat cases. They couldn't sell meat after, like, I don't know, 6 o'clock or whatever time it was. And she always used to come up and she used to razz the butchers about the quality of the meat, and one time we were walking up and I knew it was a long time till they had to shut their lights up, but they saw my mom coming and they shut the lights up. I was so proud of her because everybody laughed and here comes Gilda, and so we're not serving her tonight anyway, but there's so much power in those moments. So sometimes we think fun has to be a great big deal with balloons and noisemakers and wine and whatever. But it can be just a simple thing, just a very, very simple thing. And Catherine in her book names, all the research she did, she compiled all these people's idea of fun. And she came up with 3 components that she thought were in every single one that people described. And one was connection. And that is now can be connecting with others. Maybe it's connecting with yourself,
right?
Or just one other person or a pet, connecting with your pet.
Sure.
And then the next part is playfulness.
Okay.
So playfulness is obvious what that is. It's just a lightheartedness and a silliness. And you make, create fun just by being very present. And then the third thing is flow. And she said, you really know when you're having fun when you lose track of time because you're just doing it. All of a sudden, 15, 20 minutes have passed and you've just been bantering with a total stranger and it's very enjoyable. But the one thing that she did point out, she said those things are part of what she calls real fun. And then she says, there's also fake fun. Oh. And fake fun can often be things that you think are going to be a lot of fun, but they leave you feeling stressed or tired or judgmental. And guess what the number one fake fun thing is, according to Catherine Price? Wild guess?
Social media.
Oh, yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Because here's an interesting experiment for everyone to try is if you don't scroll on Facebook and if you don't spend time on your cell phone, just nod and smile because this isn't for you. But if you do scroll and you do spend time on your cell phone, consider that the cell phone has the equivalent power for distraction as a slot machine in a casino. Because it's designed to hold your attention, reward you sporadically, distract you from everything else, and also create emotions that you don't need to have.
Right.
So the experiment I did myself was to set a timer for 5 minutes and scroll on Facebook. And then every time an emotion came up, I just quick jot it down. Mm-hmm. So surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of joy, but there was some envy that came up.
Sure.
There was some self-judgment that came up. There was some anxiety that came up because there were advertisements for all kinds of things for joint pain. And I'm like, do I need that? Don't I need that? I mean, it was remarkable how many things came up in 5 minutes by simply scrolling. So, she recommends just really being aware and conscious of social media and how the phone is with us 24 hours a day. A lot of people never even turn it off at night, or they have it by their bed and they check it first thing in the morning. When you wake up, you're in the alpha state and you are ready to receive all kinds of wonderful intuition and insights, but the cell phone immediately destroys all of that. So
sure. Moves you right into beta.
Yeah.
into that masculine side of the uh, continuum, right? Because now we're looking at things. The other, along those lines, the other thing I'm thinking about as you're describing this is, again, my own experience of defining myself as I don't know how to have fun. And these examples that you're giving us, like it's about connection and joy and flow. I think that connection, joy, and flow, again, that energy is incompatible with being in a fear or survival state.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We can't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
But when we're in that, because we've all been conditioned to be in especially high performers,
Yeah.
conditioned to be in this very structured, by the rules sort of way, because that's been working so far, but it's not sustainable. And so what I'm thinking of at that time, when I was saying, I don't know how to have fun, I couldn't use my rules and have fun at the same time. That's what I was experiencing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't until I realized that I had to be okay inside first, right? I had to let go of my defensiveness so that I could expose myself to fun. Because if without that, right? Because if I'm going to actually move to that right side of the continuum where play and fun and creativity and love and all of that exists, I do have to let that go. But that means that I just have to let go of the rules. I think of another one of my colleagues. She wrote the book, The Leadership Pause, and talks about how important it is to pause when we're in these high beta states.
Yeah.
Pause and to let our nervous systems slow down. And I think what I've done in the past, and I think what the research shows, is that because I don't have something figured out to have fun, it's not by the rules, I got my phone right here. This is going to be fun, right? This is how I have fun. And as you say, the way that I'm trying to have fun is actually compromising my nervous system and my mental health even more.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing to have fun is actually causing me more pain.
Well, and when you consider that there are rooms full of technologists, I don't know what else to call them, who spend hours and hours trying to get your attention. And how do they get it on, Facebook is one most common used. And everybody's had the experience, like they're talking to a friend about buying shoes and they have no interest in buying shoes. And then all of a sudden, doesn't buying shoes come up? If that isn't scary, I don't know what is. But they not only check your algorithms, they check the algorithms of your friends. And if your friend's buying shoes, then chances are you might want them too. So you get the ad. That creeps me out probably more than anything else, is that I feel like I'm constantly being observed. And you are. You absolutely.
While we're trying to have fun, right? Our mission is entirely separate from buying, and yet that's what we get, and that's what we're putting.
And that's what we end up doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I bought a couple things on Facebook yesterday, and I mean, they were a new blend of essential oils or something, but I thought I wasn't looking for that.
Yeah,
I didn't need to spend that money yesterday, and yet I did.
Great.
And yet I did. And I'm sure I'm going to enjoy them, but there's that whole, I lost my power, and you totally give your power away.
Yeah,
you are powerless in the intensity of what you read on the internet. I mean, if you're really conscious, I know I've gotten very good about blocking a lot of things, and anything to do with politics, news, I just don't even get that anymore. But they still crop up, and I get to block them again, which is rather satisfying. But that's actually fun.
Okay.
Blink, you're done. So being in your power and having fun go hand in hand. And it's been proven that fun lowers your blood pressure. It does so many good things for your body, your cortisol. I mean, I can't even list them all.
Well, of course it would, right? Because you're living on that love side of the continuum. Our nervous systems are happy.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have all these feelings, you feel in harmony, in balance. And we're so out of balance right now. Even, you and I were talking about this one day, about all of the richness we have available to us now in courses and books and teachers and masters. And it's incredibly amazing how much is just at our fingertips that even 10 years ago was impossible. And yet at the same time, it's very serious work. A lot of it is very serious. And we want to become better, more spiritual, more kind, more conscientious, all of those things we want. But then we forget that there's this playful side of us that's like behind bars going, let me out, please.
Yeah. That word serious struck, the word serious you used didn't resonate with me, right? I gotta, because again, that's that left side. I don't think you can be serious and really play.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can. Maybe you can. Somebody might be able to prove that to us.
What I would in this context, the word that would resonate more with me isn't it's significance. It's not how serious is it, but how significant is this? How important is this to me?
Yeah.
Because if it's important to me, I can just keep pouring love into it and creativity into it and stay in that playful space.
Yeah.
If I get serious and there should start popping up, then I'm right back in my fear zone.
Well, that's it. And other thing that has come up for me too, because I am having a lot of fun, is that I sense sometimes judgment from people. And I've even had people say, well, that must be nice. Not in a good way. That must be nice. You had fun all weekend.
They're living in that fear state. They don't have fun. And they see you doing it and thinking you must not be working hard enough. You must not be suffering enough.
Yeah,
because that's the payment for success is suffering and
of course, because we were taught that when we were very little. You have to suffer. You have to work hard.
That's right.
And then then you retire, and then you can have fun, maybe.
Maybe if you haven't totally burned out your health by then.
That's right. And so having fun is very good for well-being and health, and it just makes common sense. But there is that judgment aspect. It's self-judgment. I should be doing this. Instead, I want to go meet some friends and go to the beach today. And I've said that a few times. Today's a beach day, and I've had people say, well, lucky you, but I know it's not sincere. And see, this is what social media generates, the opportunity for us to criticize other people and ourselves. Well, I wish I was going to the beach today. How come I'm not going to the beach today? Why do I have to work so hard? So all these horrible emotions come up from one simple picture. And I've stopped posting as much as I used to because I recognized there was part of me that really liked those likes. Sure. I liked the likes and the little hearts.
Yeah.
And then I would go back later and I'm like, oh, here's 3 more, and that's just so icky. I can't even believe that I go down that path, but I do. And I did, and I probably still will, but I'm just really over the pictures of plates of food that people are eating. And I'm sorry, folks, but it's just whatever their reason was for posting.
Yeah.
I perceive as, look at me, I'm having fun, but maybe that's not the genuine reason they're doing it. I don't know, but I'm still struggling with that a little bit.
Speculate.
Yeah.
But I think that I've been more aware, especially since COVID, of the difference between an online relationship, friendship, right? Yeah. Versus an in-person one. And to me, that even though the people that I've met online, and I've got some very personal relationships of people that I've only met a few times in my life in person, right? Yeah. So that's possible, but I think really what I find myself drawn to is more of the in-person connections.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no to the virtual piece. Obviously, we're here having this conversation now. And yet with all the things we're talking about with, the stories that go on our head as we're scrolling through, like that's a different experience when you're actually talking with someone who says, hey, I'm going on a beach day. And maybe I give you a snarky remark because I'm not giving myself a beach day and I'm mad at myself, but I got to be mad at you because I can't be mad at me. Right? I got to make you wrong, not me. And so that I can live with myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I think have a really good idea about how we are in this space. If like you said before, for those of us who may not feel confident that we are giving ourselves the opportunity to have fun, do you have some recommendations for us? Because I know you said what it included, right? The connection.
Yeah.
What was the second one?
Playfulness.
Playfulness,
Flow.
and then flow. Yeah. So how do we get there? Do you have some suggestions?
One of the things about those three components is they require being fully present. So if you are trying to have fun and you have your cell phone on the table, that's the number one distraction. You can't really be immersed in fun when you have distraction. And I was very pleased that Catherine in her book did mention Feng Shui. And she said of all the 1,500 people that she interviewed and what their most fun moments were, she said just maybe, I don't know how many she said, but it was less than 10 had them at home.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting? Because home is often full of distractions.
A lot of shoulds.
A lot of shoulds around you. And, you know, everybody has clutter of some sort at some point, not every moment of every day. But if you're always looking at what needs to be done, then having fun goes way down on the importance ladder. Because you're distracted by what you should be doing. And so that's why when we choose fun, we often go someplace or just even out in the backyard. Or does that make sense?
It does make sense. And to me, it comes back to this idea of being present.
Yes.
Right. And the distractions that I don't give myself permission to be present in my own home. To me, that's a very sad statement.
It is. And you know, when Catherine, who wrote the book, had her big epiphany, was when her daughter was born, and she was feeding her baby in the middle of the night, but she'd also been redoing her kitchen. And we talk about big distractions, but she was feeding her child in the dark of the night, and she was scrolling on her telephone looking for antique doorknobs.
Oh, wow.
And she said, there's her little girl looking up at her, and she's not looking at her, she's looking at her cell phone. And that was her pivotal moment of this needs to stop, because what's she going to remember of me? The light from the phone on my face, not even looking at her. Right. So that was her pivotal moment. And I'm finding those pivotal moments crop up from memories from my childhood, being criticized for wearing a necklace or those little things. And so as we're exploring the fun, we can look back on our childhood and see what I was doing when I was in the midst of fun and how I felt judged for it or disapproved of or any of those things. And we can choose to let that go and just, I'm so sorry you had that terrible experience, but now you can choose. Right. And let's face it, I totally get when I was raising a daughter and working 2 jobs and dogs and cats to take care of and yard work. Some of it I considered fun, you know, and I really did, but it was more, I guess, pseudo fun, you'd call it. It wasn't the real fun of just losing control of track of time and just being so immersed in that presence.
And connected. I think
connected. Yeah.
Right. I'm just so stuck on this realization, right? This clicked for me right now. Like, to be fun, you have to be present.
Yes, you do. And so if things are distracting you, it's and everybody's always multitasking these days.
Exactly.
You know, we're talking on the phone, we're baking a cake, we're petting the dog. I don't know what we're all doing, and trust me, I'm not Miss Perfect here. I've done all that in spades. And I even worked for Parks and Recreation. I should know better, but yeah, but it's true that I think starting with just awareness.
Of course.
And picture yourself going in to do self-care. And we're getting a lot of encouragement for self-care now. You know, get the massage, have quiet time, do all of those things. But what if Mary Poppins just showed up and said, you need a little bit of fun. And she thought a spoonful of sugar helps medicine go down. But she had this song, but when there's work to be done, add a little bit of fun. And my mom would do that. She never said wash the dishes. She'd go say, why don't you go play with some soapy water for a while? I'm like, okay, Mom.
Oh, what a difference that makes.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then how that influences your daughter's or that child's experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was a Girl Scout leader, and I did it all. I was the super mom. Oh, of course I was. But the rule thing really bothered me. And we had so many rules in Girl Scouts. It was ridiculous. Of course, I'd had my own experience as a brownie, and now I was a Girl Scout leader. Yeah. So I decided we were going to be Troop Beverly Hills instead of just a normal Girl Scout troop. And I had these girls from the time they were daisies in kindergarten all the way up through middle school. Okay. And so we did our badge work, we did all these things, but we always had a lot of fun and just craziness. And so when it was all coming to a close, they had earned enough money to do something with, and all the other good Girl Scouts did very wonderful things. But my girls, they were all just so bright, so smart, and they really did know how to have fun. And I was so proud of them because we connected, we were playful, we were in the flow. Sometimes we didn't get anything done in our meetings. So we made chocolate fondue when we went camping. I mean,
why not?
And everybody wanted to be in my troop, and I had to cut it off at 12. But anyway, so they decided they wanted to go on a limo ride for their last event. And I'm like, what are they going to do? Fire me? They're not no Girl Scout police.
Right.
We're going to do what we want. And I still keep in touch with a couple of them, and they still remember that I and my co-leader okayed the limo ride. And we didn't go with them. We just put them in a limo and shut the door and
let them go.
And prepared to give the driver a hefty tip. But
yeah,
all they wanted to do was drive past each of their houses, and But why not?
That's fun. Again, that is a simple way of having fun. And I can, even as you started thinking about, well, we have to have somewhere that we have to go, and all the rules just started popping up in my head. And what I just love it that you just went with it. Like, we want to drive around to all our houses. Great, let's drive around to all our houses.
That's right.
See, the other thing, right? So this is one of the other things I'm learning here, or realizing for myself again, is that all of these rules pop up just automatically for me. And if I'm not paying attention to that, I just start to follow these rules and then wonder why I've got to, I have to's and the shoulds, and I've got to. Really? Right? Like you just said, there's no police.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself, Mary, you're making up your own rules.
Yeah.
So,
or you're pulling on something that you were taught so long ago you don't even remember.
Exactly.
It became part of your life. Yeah.
That's
like
right.
Certain things you don't
yours.
Yeah.
And you get to decide, do you want to keep living with it or not?
Exactly. Yeah. I decided there were no Feng Shui police then later on. And guess what? No, they're not.
That's right. That's right.
So I've broken all the rules pretty much.
We're really policing ourselves.
Yeah. But I don't even like that word. We're just, you're saying we're policing ourselves when we follow the old rules. Yeah, exactly.
That's what keeping us on that fear state.
Yeah.
Rather than letting us move to the other side.
Yeah. I learned early on it's easier to apologize than ask permission.
Agreed.
And then sometimes I don't apologize either. But as far as bringing more fun into your life, don't make it a chore. Don't make it a job. Don't put a calendar post-it note and say from 10 to 2 on this day, I'm having fun. Just let it be organic and let it come up. And sometimes things are going to come up and you think, oh, that would really be fun. That happened to just about every multi-level marketing thing I ever did. So I thought, this will be fun and I'll make money. Yeah. And it was never fun. It was never, ever, 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 ever fun. Maybe once for 5 minutes, but No, I failed miserably at 5 multi-level marketings because it wasn't fun.
It wasn't
And
fun.
then there are other times when you create fun and you think, oh, this is going to be great. I remember taking my daughter to Disney World when she was 4 years old for the first time. And we were like so gung-ho. My parents lived down in Florida. We went over to Disney World and, we thought we were the good parents. We'd already coached her that you're going to get one thing because we're not here to shop. We're here to have fun. Well, didn't she walk in and right outside the Tiki Birds activity, there was a kiosk with talking parrots on a swing.
Okay.
And she was 4 and she said, that's what I want. And I said, remember, we're going to play in first and then we'll buy on the way out.
Yeah.
Nope, I want the bird now. And she actually had the biggest meltdown she ever had in all her previous 4 years. She wanted that bird. And, of course, people are stopping and
Sure, of course.
So there's that fear of being judged.
That's right.
And her dad said, let's just get the damn bird and go back to the hotel and let her play with it. And that's what we did. We got the bird. We went back to the hotel. She fell asleep with the bird for a while, and then we started all over again. But sometimes you really do think you're planning something that's going to be a blast and so much fun, and it just doesn't work out. But don't judge yourself. You learned something. I learned something. She probably should have been 6 before we took her to Disney World. Maybe, I don't know. She still remembers that. We just laugh about it. And she said, anyway, it's just fun. So fun needs to be what fits you, and everybody is going to have a different kind of fun. And don't feel judged if you want to buy a ticket and go to the theater by yourself. I do that. I find that very enjoyable and fun. I connect with myself. There's so many things about it I just love to do, and so don't judge anything. If you want to see fun in action and relate to how it can be, look for Pharrell Williams' song "Happy" on YouTube with dogs.
Okay.
And
I'll find that clip and I'll add it into the description.
Yes, because I might have that for you, but these dogs are in ecstasy and they're not judging each other. Oh, you look horrible when you're all wet. Oh, go into the water deeper. They're at the beach and they just plunge in, and there's even a cat. And I did show it to one of my classes and said, now I'm going to interview you as if you were one of those dogs and just say, what were you thinking when you went into the water? And I'd pick someone and she'd go, I wasn't thinking. I just went in.
Wow.
And how did you feel when you were in there? Oh, it was great. So we just pretended we were the dogs in the clip.
What a great exercise.
And if you want to think what would be fun for me, I want to feel like one of those dogs. And Happy, his song.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. And the other one that's fun to watch is Cyndi Lauper's original video of Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Okay.
The only thing that's in there is she said, after the day's work is done, girls just want to have fun. And, I'd modify that a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe you leave work early that day.
Yeah, exactly. Lynn, thank you so much for
You're
being
so welcome.
for helping me recognize more about kind of where I hold myself from having fun. And really, for me, I'm taking away this idea about being present. And I know that in order to be present, that means that I need to pause. Right?
Yeah.
I need to pause and step out of the to-do list and all of my activities and just give myself permission to be for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's bantering with the baker at Whole Foods, they're so appreciative of that. Most of them have been, but sometimes they're just too busy. But
right. And you'll know. We all have discerning skills. We know when the right time to banter is and when it's not, right? Yeah. But I love the examples. I love just really have learned so much from you today. And we've had this we've been talking about this for some time now. So I'm really grateful to you.
Oh, I am too. It's just fun. And see, this to me is classic fun. we're connecting. I don't even know what time it is. Maybe we went over time, but I don't even know. Yeah. And we're being playful. So how does it get better than that?
I agree. Lynn, where can people find you if they want to learn more about you, the fun, the Feng Shui? How do they find you?
Yes, I have a website. It's wildgracestudio.com. And I have contact information on there, phone number, email, and all that is on there. And there's also a Calendly schedule.
Yeah.
If you want to just contact me and we'll just have a free conversation. And I have some pricing on there, but I really am not paying much attention to that. I gear whatever people need is what I do, and we work it out. So just kind of ignore that for now. I need to get that taken down. But it's not fun for me to work on the website, so I haven't been doing it.
That's okay. That is okay.
Well, and Wild Grace is WYLDE gracestudio.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And for listeners who are interested in this and say, yes, that's what I want, but I don't know how to get there, or I've been trying and it's struggling. There's too much struggle. The Zesty Life Studio has been created for you in this space. This is an online space separate from your others. So there are no distractions in this space. And really most of what our interaction is, it is around the connection. So several times a week, we do guided meditations together. I have office hours that I offer every week just to get questions answered, like, how do I do this? Or what does this mean? And we also offer at the end of the week on Fridays, time for reflection and journaling and helping us just kind of keep ourselves moving steadily forward so that we don't get stuck spinning our wheels. So the Zesty Life Studio, that link will also be in the show notes. So once again, Lynn, thank you so much for bringing love to us today.
Thank you, Mary, for making it happen. It was fun.